Hello, we are here with the second grade teachers at Whit Davis Elementary School, and today we are practicing creating a formative assessment using Illuminate. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Illuminate website. There's a couple different ways to get there. I find the easiest way is just to type clark.illuminateed.com. Looks like Illuminate with those two E's next to each other. Click that and we'll see our pretty colored boxes. I'm going to start with a fresh assessment. I want to make a short formative assessment for my students. So I can either go here to create an assessment, or I can also click assessments over here and hit create an assessment here. There are two links to the same place. You see I have 4 types of assessment: an on-the-fly assessment, a manual hybrid assessment, a skills assessment, and an item bank assessment. Today we are going to use the items in the item bank to create our assessment. So I'm going to choose that. And the item bank assessment we'll be creating today will be a standard assessment. So I'm going to click next here. Okay, the first step is to name your assessment. I'm going to name mine test. And then I can describe the assessment here if I like. These two windows students will see. So they'll see the title of your test. They'll also see the description. I've seen a lot of people put reminders to students here about what the assessment is over, or to remind them to take their time, remind them to read all the items, etc. Once I've finished here, I want to tag my test. The more I tag things, my reports, the more choices of reports I can run. So whenever they give you an opportunity to tag something, I would recommend doing so. Then I'll hit create. Now I'm going to choose the standard that I'm going to assess. If I click on the type of standards, we're standards of excellence. Here. The subject, just for this example, language, and I'm choosing grade. And you will see here's your entire collection of language arts standards. I can use these triangles to open them up to look at more specific folders. This time I'm only gonna assess one standard. I'm gonna choose this RL2. Actually, I'm gonna put 2 and see what it looks like when I have 2. So I'm assessing RL1 and RL2. I've decided those are the only 2 standards that I want to assess right now. So I am going to hit. You see, next I'm going to add items. This is where I'm going to choose the items that I am going to use for my assessment. And they are still loading my filter box right now. So hopefully this won't take too long. There we go. So you see here, I can filter. I'm filtering 2 standards. Say I fill up my whole test with standard 1, I can click that and remove it and only look for standard 2 if I want. I can click on my item banks and choose the places from where I am getting my items. I can choose to filter out items with or without passages. I can look for specific keywords if I want a certain topic. But once I'm satisfied with my filter, I can hit search. Know that you can change the filter anytime you want. You can see right here it says searching. It's looking for items for me. Should have already found a few. So you see, based on my search criteria, it has found 237 items. I'm going to go through and choose the ones that I think will work best for my students. And then once I find them, I will click the add button. Every time I click the add button, it'll keep score over here on the right side, helping me keep track of how many questions I have per standard, how many total items I have, how many items with passages I have. You see this is still adding slowly, so my scoreboard is a little bit slow to respond. There it goes. So I'm going to add a few more questions. Of course, I'm going to pay more attention. We'll test to which standards I'm adding and what types of questions. And you see it's still adding one more question. But you see I have 2 items right now, 2 standards. Right here, if I'm making this test, I notice I have a problem. I have 2 standards. Well, now I have 1 for the other one, but I have 2 standards for RL1 and only 1 for RL2. If I was making a real test, I would say, hey, I have too much RL1. I'm going to go here, click RL1, and just get rid of it. And that way, now I'm only looking at items for RL2. So I'm going to go ahead and add that, and that'll balance out my test. But then once I'm happy with my items, how many standards I'm assessing, which types of questions I have, etc., I am going. This is where it gets a little easier for a moment. You will have the opportunity to preview your test and see what you've chosen. Once you're happy, you click Next. Your test booklet gives you the opportunity to change your fonts. Once you're happy with Next. And then publish. Publishing your test. Until you publish your test, you're not able to administer it to your students. So publish. And you see right now I'm still in the item bank. I need to return to Illuminate in order to deliver this assessment to my students. So now, if I start at the beginning, I would want to view my assessments. I can do it here, and I can also do it on the appropriate colored tile. There are a lot of tests here that I'm seeing, so I'm going to go to My Assessments to make sure that it's showing me just mine. And I'm still not seeing it, so I'm going to go to Recent. And I'm still not seeing it, so I'm going to search for what I called it. I see it down here. Yours will more than likely be at the top. This warning just tells me that I have a test that nobody's taken, so I'm just going to dismiss that. The important places here are Setup. Here are your share functions to share it with other members of your team. I recommend sharing it with users and then typing their names underneath here, and then giving them permissions to administer, and if you need to edit the test as well. And then to administer to students, you would go to Online Testing, click Test with Quick Code, and every time you click Test with Quick Code, this makes a new folder. So if you click it twice, that makes 2 data sets. Most of the time you would use just one. And this code over here is what you would give to students. It shows it really big on the board. And once students begin logging in, you see this number 0, it'll begin to grow. If you click on students during the test, this kind of brings you to this administration dashboard where the students will be listed. This will allow you during the test to reopen tests. You'd be able to see what question everybody's on. You'll be able to see how long people are taking. You'd be able to see if a student paused their test or not. There's a lot of information here. Once you've administered your test this way, students have entered, I'm sorry, go back for a second. With this, when students go to Illuminate, they'll have a place where they enter their student number, and in the second blank, they would enter this, and that would bring them to your test. Once you've delivered the assessment, students have entered their responses. To get the reports, you would go to View Assessments, and I'm going to open an assessment that already has some data in it. Hopefully this one does. Nope. But once you open it, you'll see the donut, which will give you a lot of the data that just surface data that you need. And also at the top, you can click on reports for fancier reports if you need. Once you've delivered a couple of tests in Illuminate and you want some help with the more complex reports, just let me know and I will be back to help you out. I hope this was helpful.